I think it's large. Large group. So I'm Scott. This is Seth, and then we've got our rest of our team here, Joy, and then not pictured is Brian and David. So, but hopefully we get a chance to go over some good stuff today for our chapter meeting. So Seth's got a few agenda items. We're going to start off with that, and then we have a special guest here, so we will introduce him shortly. So, Seth, you want to start us off?
No, I think it should be. Don't worry
about it. So we have some good information to share today. The first thing is I want to announce that we were approached by Benito Salvador, who is a filmmaker and is doing a new film called Two Wheels and a Dream, where they are going to be doing a documentary of an individual who lives here in Chula Vista. His name is DJ, and he's going to be doing a bike ride from San Diego to San Francisco. So, and I understand that the big part of the story is about the individual this individual who has type 2 diabetes, and so is it type 1?
Is it type 1? I think it's type 1.
It could be type 1. So I apologize. So. I'm not. I'll let the filmmakers tell the story, but of course it's a very strong story, a very powerful story, and we're hoping that the local chapter of Fil-Am Tri can support, and we'll be turning it over to kind of the chiefs for Fil-Am Tri as well to be introduced to Benito and his team. But I wanted to take a moment just to let everybody know, because we will probably be doing something locally to help support that film.
Yes.
So we're excited about that, and we you might have seen the picture. Myself and Joy and Seth met with Benito a couple of days ago, and so we'll have more information about that. So stay tuned for more information about that. Again, it's Two Wheels and a Dream. So okay, so I'm gonna turn it over to Seth.
Okay, so next point in the agenda, we were approached by I still want to say Cause Enterprise, but it's Cause Events.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in talks of possibly working with them on Giro de San Diego this September. So we're in talks of doing something, so maybe we may man a water station. We're not sure yet. We're just in the middle of talks right now. So we'll keep you informed, and once we have something more concrete, then we'll post it.
Excellent. All right, 2 agenda type topics down.
Next
So a couple things also we want to talk about is just kind of pre-planning for a few things. The holiday party in December, which we already have a date specified, but we're looking for some feedback on our holiday party. So we'll be sharing some details and some options for that, so what our members would like to see here in San Diego. And then also we have the upcoming Vineman / Cebu / few other events send off, which will probably be next week.
Yeah, it'll be sometime next week.
Yeah. So stay tuned for information on that. I would like to, if you're watching, if you could take a minute and comment on what date might be better for you. So we're at the 16th. So we have an option of doing it either the 23rd. Which is next Saturday, or we could do it probably right up till, I would say, Wednesday of the following week. Jen, when are you leaving? Thursday? And I'm leaving Thursday as well. So we've got basically right up until, I guess that's the 27th that we could do it here in town. And then if you have some suggestions of local restaurants that you'd like to, we can help to arrange that, of course. But I'd love to get some feedback. So we'll see if we get any feedback on that. So those are the 2 upcoming events that we've got going on. So is that what I missed?
I think that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at this point,
So again, this is for if you're just joining us, and this is our second chapter meeting. We'll have one more chapter meeting back in Chula Vista. I want to take a moment and thank our sponsors here at Pulse Endurance Sports. We're up here in Claremont. They also have a store in Chula Vista. So we appreciate our friends here taking the time to not only sponsor us, but certainly give us the opportunity to shop here in the store. So I'm appreciative of the opportunity to do that. Do you want to say a few words, it'd be great. Come on.
How's it going, guys? My name is Connor. I work at both shops. I'm mostly up here, though. Mike couldn't be here. He's with his family and wedding, and he's a very busy man. He's 3 kids and 2 shops. I'm sure it's a bit hard for him, but we're always here to help you guys. We have 10% off everything in the shop for you guys. So we just got a brand new fit bike, and we are now all certified, slow twitch. Fist certified, and we're here to get you comfortable on a new bike, on your current bike. We want to get you as fast, as comfortable, and ready to attack your next race. I saw a lot of you guys out on Vineman's course. Some of you guys were passing me, so that was a good job. It was a rough day, but we all live and learn from every race, and I hope to see you guys out here some more. We have plenty of good deals going on. You guys get 10%, like I said. Take advantage of us. We're your sponsors, and we want to help you get ready for your next race. And any questions you guys may have, we're here to help.
Excellent. Connor, thank you very much. And Mike, we appreciate it, and Connor, we appreciate the sponsorship here. And again, so one of the things about being part of our club is you get the benefits of the sponsorship discounts. So please shop local, and oftentimes even if you find something online or whatnot, Mike and his team here, they'll typically match it. I've seen that many times. So Connor, thank you again. So all right, so we will go ahead, and I think that's it for the official kind of agenda topics for today. So I'm going to introduce us. I'm going to bring Seth back up, and we're very honored to have one of our Fil-Am members here who's quite an established athlete, of course, and that's Thomas Zaide. He's here, and he's going to talk about his, not only his experiences, but some of his endurance races. And so Seth's got some great questions for him for today. And again, we're really thankful that he came down for this meeting. So, guys, come on up.
All right.
Where's the
Hey, Tyler.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So, how's your drive this morning?
Wonderful. I live in LA, so I have to deal with traffic, and it was just even nicer to drive out here in traffic again on the weekend.
Okay. All right. Cool. It's like my thing is like rotated. Okay, there it goes.
Is that just talking? So you can,
Oh, talk it?
yeah, perfect.
Now I gotta go look for my where am I? Okay.
I told him I was shy about doing this thing. He said, "Oh, don't worry. You'll be too shy, guys." Now.
Too shy. I know. Now we're gonna have too shy. All right. Okay, Thomas. I know that. I remember we met in 2011. Actually, I have Thomas to thank for. That's how I got involved in Fil-Am Tri. So that's how I started. So anyway, Thomas, like, how did you get started in triathlon?
I got started. It was actually by accident.
Okay.
I started off as a runner, and to work on my endurance and strength, I started learning how to swim on my own. Not much of a big, strong swimmer, but started doing that, and then I said, well, what are those things to work on my endurance? And I got into cycling, and then a buddy of mine who was he's done an Ironman said, well, hey, you're doing all those workouts, why don't you come out and try a tri? And I said, what's a tri? He said, oh, I meant triathlon. I said, oh, what's that? He goes, oh, you swim, bike, and you run. I said, well, I'm not too sure. I can hardly swim. He goes, well, just come out and you have a bunch of friends who are strong swimmers or competitive swimmers. Maybe they can help you out. So pretty much I just followed suit with what he was doing, and I signed up for my first race.
Oh, what was your first race?
I signed up for Benelli, but actually before that, I signed up for one in it was another ocean one out here in San Diego, next to Carlsbad.
Is it Solana Beach, or is it a sprint, or?
It was a sprint. Well, it was an open water swim. and I didn't know what the heck an open water swim was.
very
And
prospect.
so I said, well, let me just try a lake swim just to get acclimated and you know, just see what it's like. And I eventually did that race, and I don't know, I just got lucky that day and I podiumed.
Oh,
I
you
said,
did?
whoa, wow, only one podium in my lifetime.
That's awesome.
And anyhow, I used that to build up for a race out here in San Diego. And it was actually the week before, I guess, there was something bad happened at Carlsbad Tri that I went out and anyhow, I did that event. It was a sprint, and that's when I got into the sport, and I also bought my first tri bike there at
Oh,
in
so
that
what
location.
did you use for your bike in your first?
It was a brand new tri bike that this first day I rode it was on a race
For
day.
the race day? Oh.
So, anyhow.
Yeah, okay. So how about Fil-Am Tri? How did you get involved in Fil-Am Tri?
Well, back in 2010, there was a small group of friends. Well, at the time when I just started out, it was just me. Me meaning that I didn't have any really. I wasn't associated with any tri groups for one, but I was fairly new to it. And what is it? There was two people that approached me at a park when I was after I finished my training run, and anyhow, I got in touch with them, and they invited me out for a practice swim, and because they found out that I did an Ironman, they invited me out to more club events, and what had happened was that Arlen, our CEO, had reached out to the club or had mutual friends, and he came out to LA, and we got to meet him, and that's how we were first introduced. And there was maybe 5 of us at the time.
And when was this? This was it.
It was back in 2010.
2010.
Yeah, because I think in 2011 we made a trip out here to Endurance Live, and where we met some of you now back in San Diego guys. And there was only a few of you guys. Now it's just
a
slow.
lot.
It's amazing, yeah. That was how I was first introduced.
Oh, okay. I remember. Yeah, I met. Oh. Yeah, I don't do this very well, by the way.
Doing great, Seth.
So, I remember I met you at the finish line of Coeur d'Alene, and I remember that was my first Ironman. But which one's it? Was that your second or third or?
That wasn't my second.
That was your second. Oh, okay.
Second
Yeah.
Ironman.
I remember. So I just gotta ask, like, how did the run course go on Coeur d'Alene? Because I remember that was a tough one. That was my first one, and it was hard for me.
Well, the run was wonderful, except for the part where I hit the wall and decided to take a nap at an aid station. But it was the best. So I just recall just waking up, looking around. I see these people running right in front of me, and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm still in a race. So anyhow, I don't know for how long I slept, but there was a bunch of college students I remember that were just giving me like hydration and all that, just to kind of cheer me up, but then at the same time just laughing at me because they saw me on the side of the curb just sleeping there on the sidewalk. But that was fun. Funniest memories that no one will let that go.
How long did you sleep for?
I don't know, but I finished at daylight, so I guess that was a good thing, right?
Yeah. It was in June too.
That's awesome.
Alright, so would you say which one, if you had to pick between swimming, biking, and running, which one would you say you're the one that you like the most?
I'd probably say the run is my favorite, but probably my strongest one, when I'm doing the Ironmans, is the swim. I'm not fast, but I've learned how to conserve a lot of my energy so I can get me throughout the race. And the run's always the hardest, toughest part because it's the last discipline, of an Ironman. And that's where I'm basically just suffering just to get to that finish line. I mean, it's not in, sometimes it's not even a run, it's a walk. But so it's funny, I can be strong, that can be my strongest, but when it's 3 disciplines, it can be my weakest.
How about you've also done some ultramarathon.
Yeah, then it's hard minutes.
Which one? How did you progress from from a marathon to something even longer? Like, what made you decide to do that?
I think after doing quite a few Ironmans and marathons, I wanted something a little more. I was looking for something more challenging. Not to say that Ironman isn't and running marathons aren't as challenging as enough, but I think I just needed a change. I've done consecutively at least an Ironman a year and stuff, and I said, well, let me work on something else as far as trail running. And that's how I got introduced, and a buddy of mine said, hey, why don't you join us, or join me for a trail run, which is a 50K, and it was the fastest 8-hour race I ever did.
Which was your first 50K?
It was Bulldog. And,
oh, that's a hilly one, right?
Yeah, so my friend and I, we're both runners. It's a 2-loop course. First loop took us 2.5 hours. And the second one took us, 5.5 hours? To finish. Right?
So, am I to say it wasn't a negative split then?
It was a negative split. But it was a great experience, and I knew that trail running was something that I wanted to venture off into as something different for myself.
So how did you progress from like 35, that's a 50K, up to 50, and then you've done some 100 miles too? So.
Well, I was...
Can we show the hardware real quick, Tisa? Can we show the
Oh,
hardware?
okay, yes.
I don't want to interrupt the question. I don't even feel worthy to carry it.
I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
Here's the. This is the. Bow down. This is, if there does, this is the Badwater 135, which Thomas did in 2014, right?
Yes.
And I feel so honored because I got to crew for you. Yeah. So, anyway, tell us about Badwater.
Well, it was bad.
Like, what made you decide to do Badwater?
Like I said, in order to do this race, it's like you have to qualify. And one of the requirements is running 300 milers.
100 miles? Oh, wow.
So just to go back when you said, how did I progress from a marathon to ultramarathon? Well, this is one of the reasons why. I had met another individual who mentioned this race to me, and I said, and he told me everything about it, and I said, wow, that was just amazing. Who would have known that years later that I would be running this race? But in order to get here, I knew I had to build up to it. So that's where the 50K came, and then many 50 milers, and then ultimately knowing that, well, what does it take for me to get in here, or even to meet some qualifications I needed to run 100-mile runs. So that's what I had done, and that's how I got to this race.
How did you prepare for, leading up to Badwater?
Well,
How
did
long
the
did you prepare?
Well, so I used my races as my training races. And every month, probably every other weekend, I always had some event. So some of you guys who knew me, that you guys always saw me like racing somewhere. And that's what I used as my training, just to build up for this race. I knew that I wanted to do this, the Badwater. I just didn't know when that time was going to happen until I knew that I felt right, like this is the year that I wanted to go back. Now, back in 2014, they made course changes. We were Adventure Corps wasn't permitted to have the actual traditional Badwater route, just to let you guys know. So our team didn't start at Badwater. We started at Lone Pine, and we made our way out to Darwin and back. So the course has changed, but the finish still the same. Level of difficulty. Imagine we went from the traditional course of 12,000 feet to 17,000 feet.
It's like 5,000 additional.
Yeah, on the year that we did it. But then the heat, in Badwater, it was a lot hotter, I want to say, or it is a lot hotter. So, it's still a challenging course. It just depends on the runner and how well you train for it. But that's how I got to this race. And also, volunteering, helping out as an official at one of the aid stations, and just seeing these amazing athletes from all over the world compete. I knew that, this is what I wanted to do the following year, and I was very fortunate that the race director and the committee had saw or read my because it's like not an interview but an application, and took me in, So I was very grateful, and I want to say but we couldn't have done it, which is the team, the Speedy Turtle team.
Yeah.
Couldn't have done it, it's without the teamwork.
Now you mentioned Speedy Turtle. How did you get that?
So it's turtles, slow and can be fast but consistent, and the Speedy is. I guess I had to come up with some kind of running there because I guess I can do both. I don't know. I'm able to run fast, pretty quick. I don't want to say pretty quick marathons, and then but then I can go long too at the same time.
Oh, for those of you who don't know, by the way, Thomas has gone to Boston a few times also. So we'll talk about Boston in a little while. We'll talk about the long stuff right now first.
So can you take a question from the audience?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
From the audience.
Oh,
We'll take questions on Facebook Live too, so if people have questions, but I'm just curious with Badwater. So how did you feel at the end? I mean, was there, I think the interesting thing with endurance sports is I'm sure most people have questions about kind of what's the drive, what drives you to go do a 135-mile run. So I mean, did you feel like it was enough when you were done, or was it like, I accomplished this and I can look to do more? Where do you stand in your own kind of mind now as far as wanting it to accomplish greater distances?
After Badwater, I knew that there was another race that I was already set to do, and but then it was a bicycle event this time. Right? But I knew that after Badwater, there was something else that I was missing, and that was just settling down, starting a family. So when I finished the race, I knew that perhaps maybe to take a break from the sport and start a family, or settle down and start a family, and then after that challenge, and maybe then perhaps getting back into the sort of endurance sports. I would love to go back to Badwater again and race the traditional course, but I think that the feeling of just accomplishing that Badwater together with the team, I think that hopefully it's inspired a lot of us, or a lot of people have followed me, or even the crew, to maybe someday attempt to race it as well.
Where is Badwater anyway?
So Badwater is in the Death Valley National Park. I don't know how far from here, but where?
It's happening this week, yeah?
Yeah, it's the 2016 starts this Tuesday again. And we'll have our very first Filipina competing, Tess Leona, racing to represent the Philippines. So it's great.
And the average temp is like what, in the 115?
Average temps, last year when I was out there, the start of the race is at 115 degrees. Yeah, at Badwater. And it didn't get any cooler, but no difference from 100 degrees and 115 degrees. It's just hot, you know. So yeah, amazed by the many of the runners out there that are going to be competing from all over the world.
How did you cool down?
Cool down. I had a bug sprayer, filled with water.
Yeah.
You know.
You still have it, right?
Yes, I still have that bug sprayer. And the crew just right, making every stop just to cool me down with some water and some ice. Yeah.
Yeah, that was Mike and I were touring for Thomas, and it was an amazing experience. To
Yes,
see this
I think I was very blessed to have the crew that I had. I had a nurse, Rosalie, my wife who's a PA, and then Noriel who's him and his wife. They run a PT clinic, and then I have two techie guys.
I think you had you're in good hands.
Yes.
So,
I knew the team was in good hands. Oh
yeah,
yes, and Richwood.
Your brother-in-law.
Yes.
Actually,
Highly motivational.
Highly motivational. Actually, the two of you actually spent some quality time up in the mountains.
Oh, we did. Lovely time spent. Yeah, he was.
Who's running 100 miles right now, right?
He's running 100 miles right now at the Tahoe Rim Trail. So, wishing him the best of luck.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's got to run in the family, you know.
Sure.
When you're going to do a long run on trails, do you only train on trails?
I try to, yes. One of the reasons why is the trails are more forgiving, and it works great with strengthening your legs. I mean, there's a difference when you're running trails and running on the road. On the road, well, like let's say marathons, you train yourself to run at a constant pace. Right? In trails, you don't know what you're going to encounter. You might have hills and, little obstacles here and there. The terrain is much different. So mentally, your mind is constantly thinking what's your next move going to be. Your heart rate's jumping up and down because sometimes you're not on a descent, you're climbing. But whenever I'm doing the long runs, even if I'm marathon training, I prefer running on the trails. But it really depends on the type of course that I'm going to be racing. One of the big things I do is I study the course that I'm planning on racing and try to find local trails or areas where I can kind of mimic it so that when I get to the race event, it's not so much of a surprise that mentally I've prepared enough that I know I've done this already, I've done it before. It's just now just putting everything all together and just doing it the best I can.
You actually mentioned. Let's move on from this. I should say let's transition from biking to cycling. You had mentioned that after Badwater you thought about 508.
Yeah, so their Adventure Goer has what is called the Death Valley Cup. It's doing the Badwater and 508 miles of cycling all in the same year. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to do Badwater on 2014, so that I was just ready to do the cycling at the same time, just go big and do both events. So that one was, I want to say that probably the toughest endurance race or event that I've ever done. Yeah.
Why would you say that compared to Badwater?
To be honest, no preparation. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
How about did you have enough recovery? Because you did it all in the same year. So when is 508?
508 was maybe it's about 2.5 months. 2.5 months between the break that I had, but it's really tough on the cycling, and the reason why I was saying it's hard. I mean, I trained for it. I know that I was conditioned and had endurance. It's just the fact that just being able to ride your bicycle throughout the night without having an accident.
Oh.
And part of the endurance running, if you haven't done a 100-miler, is a sleep deprivation. So there's times where I saw a bunch of jackrabbits where I thought they were little people crossing the roads. And finding the winds and just trying to stay on wheels or tire on the
How did you keep upright? Is it, did you find yourself dozing or?
I did. But you just got to be smart, and if you're gonna get to that point where you're falling asleep where it's too bad, you need to just take a break, And power naps helped me throughout the race, and then I had a crew following me in the van, so I felt always safe, and I think that's the biggest thing is just being reassured that you're gonna be okay. If something happens, there's somebody there to take care of you.
What kind of bike did you use?
I used my Pearl Cannondale bike that
For those of you who don't know, just a few days ago something happened to that bike.
There is no more Cannondale bike. It's now just gonna be hung on my wall. But
You have to bronze it.
You have to bronze it, yeah. So,
yeah, poor bike.
so if anybody's willing to sponsor Thomas, he's open for a new bike sponsor. Okay, so let's go back to mentioned before about Boston. Being speedy. So you've gone to Boston before, and
So let me see. So I set my goals on going to Boston for 2014. So I pretty much trained for it, and I had to qualify many times just to get my name on the list. In 2014, that was the year of the unfortunate terrorist attack.
So you were there at the do you recall where were you when it happened?
Yeah, well, my family came along, and they were I remember them at Mile 26, and so that year, I remember just carrying my phone for the very first time and wanting to take photos. Because to me, Boston is like the Olympics of marathons. It was never to race it. It's just to run the event and to celebrate all the hard work that I had to put in, and also for everyone who's helped me get there. So at mile 26, I said hi to my family, and I remember just crossing the finish, or taking pictures of the flags. And I said, okay, let me just cross the finish line, and once I get there, I'll wait for the family, or most of the time, when I finish, I always go to them. This time I had my phone, I said, let me just call them. And I had them walk all the way past the finish line, meet up with me, and then we kind of got separated because I went to go get one of my job bags. And then probably about maybe 10 minutes, that just lapsed, and that was I guess it was the first explosion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I wasn't saying anything. It was my family. We were just very fortunate that, that day I just had my phone, and it's where they were at, I believe, was where the second bomb.
They were okay?
Yeah, no, my family was fine. But I mean, it was just very unfortunate that it happened. And I think that was one of the reasons why I said, well, I need to go back the following year just to pay respect and just send out a message to all those people trying to great care.
What was your qualifying time to get into Boston?
My qualifying time is 3:10, but to secure it, I think the first 2014 I used the 3:08 to get in, but with all the demand or everyone wanting to go back for the anniversary, then I ran a 3:03 or something the following year. So I really wanted to go.
Which race did you use to qualify?
Well, there's quite a few of them. The ones that I submitted were Mountains to Beach. So if you're looking for a good fast course with really nice scenery, it's a really nice course. That Mountains to Beach would be one of them. And then also Sacramento,
Oh, the
And then-
CIM or
CIM. And then I also used LA once. So yeah, LA Marathon's a nice one. Enjoys signaling the.
Tell us about that race.
Oh, okay. So yeah, there was one year that I think it was 2013. I was running LA Marathon.
oh yes, that's right.
Yeah, it's another one that no one will ever let me go. Oh, that's actually so I just remember going to the finish line. I said, "Oh man, I got a chance to qualify for Boston. Let me just push it."
Did you qualify that race?
I did.
Did.
Qualified in a wheelchair. So and ASICs got that all over on video.
Yes.
And they love to replay that at every LA marathon.
So tell us, like, what happened in that race? I mean, when you tried to
So,
push it,
yeah.
when did you?
How did you end up in?
How did you end up in the wheelchair?
Well, once I got to the finish line, I just I was about to get the medal, but then I just felt like faint, and then decided to. Well, there was volunteers there who caught me before I fell,
Yeah.
and they put me in a wheelchair, and then all I remember is just something banging against my head, which was the wheelchair, because the girl who was pushing me apparently hit a pothole. Woke me up.
Oh yeah.
I remember I got a medal on my neck. I'm like, it's like, I'm okay now. Thanks, Joy.
That's good. I forgot about that.
What was your qualifying time then? Was
Is
that
that when you
303?
get 303 or?
No,
Is that
that one was like 309 or something. Yeah. But I mean,
Was
a
it
lot
due
of
to
these,
the
just,
heat
some of them
or-
were never an intention to, well, just to run it. And but then when I saw that, oh man, everyone's going to Boston. Like, okay, it's time to work a little harder. And I've been fortunate to run a little faster. And I knew that I had 100 milers that I needed to train for, so work on the base and speed work, and then eventually everything just worked out. I know, I hope you guys aren't getting bored with all these
No,
things.
no,
Yeah,
it's
it's
great.
awesome.
Yeah. What's you've done quite a bit. I still need to ask, like, any plans for the future? Or
Supersize challenge 2.
Supersize challenge.
what's that?
I know, we had a supersize challenge that Richwood and I were just, it was supposed to be a joke, but to run a 50-mile trail run out in San Francisco, the North Face one, and then sign up for a marathon the following day. And we got Mike Vito from San Diego to join us. Yeah, and suffer along with us.
Was that when you did North Face or
So you did
what
North
was
Face.
that one?
We did North Face, and then
And then the next ACIM.
I remember it was probably one of the worst years they had with rain. It was non-stop. And we ran that, finished around maybe I think midnight is when we got out of there. And then we drove all the way out to Sacramento to run another marathon. And but on our way there, we decided to stop at a restaurant, and none of us cleaned up. So you can see, you found us in the bathroom, like trying to scrape all this mud off ourselves. And we cleaned. Richard and I were cleaned up, and Mike decided to just go in with mud all over his legs. But yeah, then the next day we were running the marathon, and we thought it was gonna be a nice sunny day, but no, it was just rain all day again.
Oh.
So that was the first and last that I'll ever do that.
So
No more super
no more
size then.
supersize 2 then?
No supersize 2. But well, leading up to the future. So, what are my plans? Well, this year I tried to attempt one of the 100 milers. So I DNF'd that here in San Diego. Really bad day. And it's part of this what they call the California Triple Crown Series. I was hoping that I can get these 3 100s just to, I guess, put the Fil-Am Tri out there, and hopefully someone else will fall suit. But it's not happening. So I do have another one. It's in a couple weeks on the Angeles Crest 100. Hopefully we'll be successful there. This year I'm just doing them solo, no crews. I think I've kind of punished my crew members already, and I didn't want. But I'll be out there doing that race, and then hopefully next year there'll be another Ironman, and maybe number 2 is the challenge. Hopefully, right? Right? I mean, that's the biggest challenge.
The biggest challenge.
But I'm hoping and just going away from all these races and stuff. One of my goals, when I first had started this before Fil-Am Tri, or when I got into Fil-Am Tri, was hoping that things that I've done that would inspire many of the people that I've met, because that's how I got into the sport. It was just meeting that, whether it was that guy that did Badwater is the one that got me into this, or it was friends of mine who ran Boston, and then also the guys who did 508. I mean, those are the guys who've done a lot more, man. And I to answer Scott's question is like, after finishing the Badwater, what's satisfying with it? I think I've been satisfied. Like, I'm already happy. But everything else that I'm doing right now is just, hopefully it's just going to just inspire many of you guys. And for you guys to watch how this club has grown so much, and watching everyone helping each other, supporting each other within this club, and then even friends of other clubs. I think that was always been something that was one of my goals. So seeing that year and year, from through Facebook, social media, right? With you guys is terrific. So whether I go back to racing again next year, I mean, I'm hopeful, but I mean, I do have a baby girl, and that's probably, I want to say, the biggest goal that I've ever wanted was to have a family. This other stuff is just it's just icing on the cake, I guess, right?
Can we bring your lovely wife and daughter out?
Oh, yeah.
Over here. Here, come here.
Show your hat, Nikki.
She's got a wonderful smile.
So let me ask a follow-up question, because having that ability to do endurance, I would call it like super endurance type stuff, and then knowing that your family's supportive and understands it, and then also is an athlete, talk about the balance a little bit. I mean, how do you see the balance now? How do you see it changing? And maybe just as a general house, just what's your thoughts on just kind of your best advice to people? Because we know we have a lot of new athletes that are just starting. So, I don't think there's any doubt your inspiration and what you inspire people to accomplish. But what do you see for kind of it's kind of multi-part question, but what do you see kind of for the future of the sport, and how do you encourage people to just start?
Well, definitely having a child is a challenge. Lane and I, she's been very, very supportive, and I think leading up to knowing that I was going to settle down and want to start a family, I kind of slowed down as it was in sports. Now, a lot of the days that I did training, were the days that it was either early in the morning when they're still sleeping, and then maybe sometimes after work, but I had to limit it. And when I limited that time, it really had to be based, every workout has to be very geared towards quality and never quantity, because I didn't have, it was very limited on time. So Lelaine and I, we take turns. You know, she loves to swim, so she has her time to swim while I'm with the baby, and it's vice versa.